whole gang together, huh?
What is happening right now? I think we're kicking ass. Chase!
Hi, I'm Dan, and today I'm reacting to Marvel's Runaways, Season 1, Episode 5, Kingdom. Not really sure what the Kingdom's about, to be honest. All the other titles, I've immediately understood what they're coming from. Here, I'm just like, I don't know. So if I'm missing something obvious here, please let me know in the comments below. But moving on from the title, I want to say this is probably one of my favorite episodes so far. It's definitely the most superhero-y episode, the big sort of team-up episode, and definitely the most fast-paced. We still have these great teen dynamics, but it's more of a sci-fi show than a teen drama in this episode. And I like the mixture of the two, but I feel like we needed that sort of kick in the pants, especially now that I realize this is actually a 10-episode season, not a 13-episode season. It's good that we're getting some forward momentum. Unlike last week, we didn't have like lots of different side plots, so I couldn't go as easily character by character this week, because it's really just about this one big A-plot of everything that's happening with Alex and his dad and trying to get Alex back, and then the fallout of that. I'd say the only thing that was sort of constituting a B-plot was about Victor and Chase and sort of their evolving relationship and them working together in the lab. So I'm going to start there. I thought the Victor-Chase stuff was actually really good this episode. It made me care about Chase in a way that I haven't as much up till now. And I think Victor is great. We're adding layers to these characters, which is really nice, that we know straight up that Victor is like capable of doing bad things. He killed Destiny and seemingly gets to cover their tracks, not like to sacrifice for this greater good or anything. Now, I assume you could argue maybe, oh, they think it's for this greater good and they need to cover it up. You know, it's hard to tell. We don't know all the specifics of what the parents are doing, but clearly he's not the best of guys. We know he beat his son, but here they do find a way to make him a little bit sympathetic, and they do so by also making him more sympathetic to Chase. And so you're sort of seeing him through Chase's eyes a little bit as his dad opens up to him and as they connect over their shared intelligence and tinkering together, and his dad sort of softens. And we even find out by the end of the episode that his dad is dealing with some brain cancer, and that has sort of been what's causing him problems throughout the series so far. From Chase's perspective, he's starting to sort of see his dad in a more complex way, and it's going to make it complicated for him as everybody else starts to get more and more against their parents. I think that dynamic that all of these characters are going through of, well, they're my parents, but they're freaking evil, but they're still my parents, like, what am I going to do? I think that's the really interesting dynamic that we're building up more and more as these episodes go on. Of course, there were two other big revelations from this story arc. First, we have the Fistigons, which, I gotta be honest, sounds really silly. More silly than badass, but they look cool, and there's something sort of adorable about how silly they sound, and it kind of adds to the charm of Chase, I think, which is nice. Certainly he does seem to be shaping up to be our Tony Stark of sorts, but I like that there's still kinks to be worked out there, and I like that the weirdness of his dad being the one that sort of helps him acquire these abilities of sorts. The other big reveal is the time machine, doomsday device, that nobody knows is coming, but we seem to now have this big thing lurking over all of them, lurking over the season, maybe the series, I don't know. It seems hard to believe that by the end of this 10-episode run that we'll be facing something that big, but I'm not sure. I'm also not sure that the show really needed this. Yes, it's interesting to have a bigger picture going on, but I know that these are teen characters. I don't know if they need to save the whole city as much as they need to deal with their interpersonal dynamics and deal with their parents and maybe save their small corner of the neighborhood or something. I don't know that I need them to stop the entire landscape from falling down. Now, maybe with the help of their parents, by the end of it, that might make more sense. I'll see where it goes. But let me know where you guys are with this. Are you excited by the idea of this big Los Angeles destroying disaster or not? Meanwhile, we get the reveal of who actually took Alex. And I want to kick myself for not thinking of Darius, who is revealed to be Jeffrey's buddy from the old day that he screwed over. I like these flashbacks and how we're getting little pieces of his dad's puzzle, while there's still so much in between that we don't know to sort of fill out what's going on here. Because, okay, yes, from the outside, when we see this flashback, we feel like, yes, Jeffrey did something super messed up and totally screwed over his friend and didn't even follow up remotely on his end of the bargain and got so much out of it. But the question is, did he do that because he felt he had to in some way connecting with Pride? Is there some greater purpose going on here? So it's an interesting thing because from Darius's perspective, you can totally understand where he's coming from. He's a villain here and he's going too far, obviously. He's taking Alex, who we care about too, but you understand Darius's motivations here quite well. And there's a lot of interesting things of class playing around here. We're making Jeffrey the bigger bad guy here at the end of the day because he created this other bad guy. But again, we don't know why or how and what exactly made that whole thing happen. Again, at the same time, at the end of the day, he takes this teen who his son had to shoot and sacrifices him for this weird Jonah character, who we'll get a little more into in a bit. But it creates this whole thing where you're from the kid's perspective because you're in the dark the way they are, and you're like, how messed up are these parents? Are they pure evil? Is there something bigger going on? And the question I have now that we're learning that there is this Jonah person who helped orchestrate getting Jeffrey out of jail and helped him sort of find his way in the world. What does Jonah know that the Pride doesn't know? What is he telling them versus what is the truth? Does he have something to do more with the larger picture of LA toppling? And does maybe not sacrificing to him lead to that? There's a lot of questions going on here, and I'm interested to see what you guys think. I do want to talk about Jonah because the reveal that he is Karolina's real father certainly puts her actor father in an interesting, very major patsy position. And the question is, was he completely just picked out because he would provide legitimacy to the church and money to the church? And does Karolina's mother have no interest in him at all and is just completely using him? And does he not? He seems like he wouldn't even know that Karolina isn't his daughter. I want to see more interaction between him and Karolina and more of him just in general going forward. I'm interested to see whether he eventually ends up sort of joining with the kids because he's been so mistreated. I have a feeling he's not that long for this world, but he certainly wasn't the sacrifice as a lot of people were expecting. So let me know what you think is going to happen with him. I'd love to hear in the comments below. The huge thing as far as the kids are concerned this week is all of them sort of teaming up to defeat Darius, using their powers amongst each other for the first time. We get to see Molly picking up a car. We get to see Nico using her shield wand, magic awesome, and using it to follow the heat signature. It's very interesting. It's an interesting mix of like science and magic there. And of course we get the fistigons, and we get the glowing blast power. I did think that there were some issues going on with this sequence. First of all, Karolina had no idea that her power would do that in any way and just did it. And I also feel like the effects there were not as great as they have been in the past. There's also just a sort of weirdness about how easily everybody takes in what's going on here. And I realize, having done some reading and stuff about the show, that it is supposed to definitely take place in the MCU. And so they're already sort of prepped to believe in crazy things, that this is a crazy world already. They're just finding out that they themselves are part of the crazy. So I guess that makes a little bit more sense, but I feel like if you're just watching the show, it feels like, oh, people are like acclimating to dinosaurs and things pretty easily, and oh look, she has glow powers. At the same time, I think that the chemistry and the banter between the various characters is really spot on this week. And I want us to give an MVP shout out to Gert, who I think had a lot of really funny lines, cynically sort of looking at everything from her own perspective. And I gotta say, if I were her or Alex and everybody else could do these awesome things and I could just do this sort of side thing, or Alex can't even, it would be kind of sad. Now, it's definitely cool to be able to control a dinosaur, don't get me wrong, but you're not actually doing that much physically yourself. You're just like a Pokemon trainer, and I would rather have glowing blast powers, personally. Overall, action-wise, I think this first team-up was a little bit lackluster. I think that they could have done more to make this action scene more exciting. It makes me a little bit worried for action scenes going forward and how much budget do they have. I hope the show is doing well. It's hard to tell on Hulu, but I hope that they're able to get a bigger budget going forward, especially because we know that this show can work as a teen drama. We don't really know how much this show works when it is involving superhero battles. This is our first closest glimpse to it, really, and it wasn't phenomenal. It is cool to see the kids working together, and the more I watch the show, the more I feel like the real magic of the show was in the casting. And I think the kids, their chemistry as they work together and start to actually like each other more again and reconnect is so good. And I just love the banter in the car as they're all going there. Molly's really coming out as a great standout, I feel like, too. He's just really adorable and funny, and he just adds a different energy to the group than anybody else does. There also is just a really nice thing about watching 4 girls get in a car together to go save a guy in this episode. And yeah, Case comes in later, but I think there's something really exciting and fresh about that. Teenage girls working together to save a guy. Really cool stuff. By the end of this episode, we do have the sacrifice of Andre, which is what brings Jonah back to his full self. Crusty old man, now he is sexy man. Andre's death really weighs heavily on Alex, as he's the one who shot him and sort of gave his dad the ability to have a sort of easy pickings of this kid, who I think they did a good job of humanizing in a very quick manner. He and Nico reconnect as he sort of comforts him after everything that happens with Andre. And that leads to something that I want to talk about that I think is pretty interesting and a little bit subtle in this episode, which is Karolina's interest in Nico. Now, I don't know how much I'm reading into this. There is the sequence in the pilot where Karolina is watching the 2 girls at the party, and there's sort of definitely some lesbian undertones there. And then when she and Nico hug, there's a bit of almost too much of a lingering feeling there, and she has this look on her face, and then when she sees that Nico is with Alex, she has this sort of little reaction. Again, not sure how much I'm reading into this, but this could definitely throw an interesting wrench into this love triangle with Gert and Chase that we have going on. My question is, will it just completely fall apart? Because if Karolina isn't interested in Chase, but he was Chase's first choice, that can't exactly make Gert and Chase work out that easily, at least in the short run. So I'm interested to see what you guys think as far as ships go. I'm sure a lot of this is a different story if you've read the comics and you know where things are going. I'm not sure how much, as far as the romantic entanglements, things are changed. But definitely, I'm glad that they're adding some layers here and they're going away from tropes and they're trying to subvert them. Just ending out with a little bit more talk about Jonah. I'm excited to see Karolina have to interact with him. Jonah seems to be an alien of some kind. I'm sure he has some ideas that he's not telling the Pride. And maybe he's like, oh, if I die, my people will come and you need to save me or something. I don't know. But I'm excited to find out. And I'm excited to see what you guys think. So what are your theories? Did you like Kingdom? Do you think I'm being a little too harsh on the action sequence? Are you excited for more of these superhero-y episodes? Or are you more excited in the teen drama stuff? I'd love to know. I'd love to read your comments in future videos. And please let me know if you want me to change anything about how I'm doing this, how I'm recapping. I know it was a little bit all over the place this week. Kind of just doing it spitballing style, or first reactions, I guess, watch the episode. But if you'd like me to be more focused and outline heavy, I can try to do that too. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, share, like, all that jazz. And also as a side note for DoingOK as a whole, this is our last video for the week. And we'll see you back here on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, guys.